Welcome back to the channel, guys. Um, Today we're going to do some mountain bike shock recharging or rebuilding. Where is it? Yeah, my Yeti right there. The forks are leaking. So I'm assuming it's pretty similar to a motocross bike, probably a little bit more simple. So we're going to go ahead and just try to figure it out. But before that happens, we have a massive mess here from just a minor project that I did off camera. I had a Subaru that I just wanted to turn over real quick, and that's why I haven't posted for a while, because I've been trying to get that done and I've been busy. So we got to clean this garage up. So let's go ahead and get started on that. I'm gonna clean up, sweep, organize the tools, and then we'll get the bike taken apart. All right. So anytime you go to work on your bike, you definitely want to make sure it's clean. If I have to make a recommendation, it's going to be muck off. This stuff is phenomenal. Always dry your bike off after you wash it, especially if you have electronic parts. Make sure that it doesn't give the water time to sit and get into your seals. And then always lube your chain after you're done, and your seat post and shock stanchions. That way that they're less likely to dry rot. Today we're going to be taking off the front end and replacing the fork seals because our fork seals are leaking. Also, I might add, I'm not plugging for muck off. It is phenomenal. I dried the bike off and it looks freaking brand new. So that's the only thing that I'll use. All right. So we're going to begin by taking the handlebars off and the head piece right here, the handlebar mount, and then the collar, and that should allow for the front end to slide out. We'll also take off the front tire before we take this section off, so that we'll be able to just slide the front section just right out. All right, once you have the fork out, get yourself a little clean area to work in. And we're going to start by letting the air out of the shock. So you take the cap off. Insulate it. With a rag. And take a screwdriver and slowly release it. Okay. Then take your caps off. And your dampening adjuster. There's a little Allen on the end. And then you're gonna get your for this one, it looks like it is kind of big. 15. Loosen that up. Not all the way out, just enough to lift it off. And you're going to want to put your socket on there and tap it with the mallet till the bolt, so it dislodges it from the stanchion. A mallet, not a hammer. And then see the bolt sitting flat. So that's dislodged. And then you do the same thing on the other side. And the other side looks like a 10 or an 11. It is a 10. That one didn't really need to be hit too hard. It was bouncing a little, but it came out. So then you just pull it out. No fluid. Up there. I got this fluid on eBay from a seller. It's Fox fluid, 5 and 20, and it was like 15 bucks for. This is a lot more than you need to do this job. I didn't want to get a whole thing because I don't really do it this often. I might if I start doing it more, but yeah, that's all you need. And this is Fox brand suspension oil. And then we got the Fox dust wiper kit. Comes with all of the crush washers and the foam and the seals. And then I got this fork seal driver on eBay too for 11 bucks. Looks like somebody just 3D printed it, but it'll do the job. You just need it flat on top and the same diameter as your seal. So you set your seal on there, put that down in the tube and tap it in with a hammer. So let's clean these out. And you can use a screwdriver or a wrench. I like to use a wrench, but you just put something soft on the side, stick the wrench underneath the edge, and pry them right out. Take your foam pads out, and you're going to want to clean all that out. So what you want to do first is soak your foam pads my seals. Got my new ring. New crush washers. And I'm just going to use the bag, put my foam in there. Make sure they're straight on the bottom. Open up my 20 weight. Soak it up. Now you can put your new seals in. Actually, you know what? I don't think that I got enough oil in my rings because they're not fully expanded. Oh yes, much happier. So you just set on top like that. Take your seal. That's the old one. Beauty. Just make sure it sits flush with the top of the tube. Don't want it crooked. Best $11 I ever spent. Slide it back in. Be careful sliding those back in. You don't turn your seals around. There we go. That's right. go. Take your new end cap, which was this one, and your bolt, and that's recessed, so it should sit right inside this ring. Don't tighten it down, just put it on there. That way you can make sure you seat that correctly, and then push it in until this side comes out. There it is. Take out your old plastic ring, that one's worthless. Put the new one in there, thread your bolt on. Make sure they're seated. So you'll have that plastic ring on there, and this one's the same size as the stanchion, so this one should be all right to go all the way down. This one, just make sure it's inside there. And you can put that down on top of it. Okay. And I forgot to put the oil in. So we'll pop that back off. And that one. And we're going to want to slide this out just so it's on the end. So the ends are open. Just so your ends are open, and we're going to measure out our oil. Okay, so in the damper leg, which is the big one with the dampening adjustment, you have to do for the Fox 36 float, you have to use the 5 weight, which is the lighter one, and that takes 40 cc's. And I have a syringe here. It's a stand syringe injector for tubeless tires. It's never been used, but it's just been sitting in my closet or in my toolkit for a while. So, and it's got your milliliters right here, so we need 40 of the 5 weight. Take this off. Would have been cool if you wrote 5 weight on the bottle instead of on the tape. I'll just plug the end. I'll make sure you shake it. All right, we're at 40. Put the end in. Turn it upside down. Slide it up a little bit. Okay, and go ahead and put her in there. make sure you keep it at an angle. And then for the spring side, you want 10 cc's of the 20 weight, which is also known as the air leg. Well, that syringe slides up a hell of a lot better. So now that that's in there, go ahead and slide your forks back up and we can put the end caps on. There you have it. We have new fork seals. We did a refresh. We're going to put the end caps back on and put it back on the bike. Also, guys and gals, I did want to note that this is a really good time to clean out your head tube. In this bike, there is a bearing that rolls on both sides. And whenever I pulled it out, it looked like that. So you want to clean that off. And I'm just going to use some white lithium grease to clean up these seals and the bearings before I put it back in. But you don't want a ton of torque on this one. That's why I bring it up and I set this. And then I'll screw this down in. Make sure everything's straight. And just get it taut. And then loosen up your set screw. And support the fork so that the weight isn't down on it, but it's still loose. And then what you want to do, if I can juggle these bits, now that your handlebars are loose, bring it up so it's flush simply by drawing this tight. Not super tight. This top bolt should only be like, I want to say 6 to 8. I'm going to do it at 6. because really the set is really this clamp right here. That's it. And I'm using this Pro Bike tool. This thing is the shit. Every single bit comes in the kit. Again, not sponsored. It's just an inherited tool. I actually stole it from my father-in-law. Thanks, Mike. And it has every single bit for every single bike. Star bits, Allens. It's a torque wrench. I think they're like 80 bucks. Definitely worth it. So now that you have that set and you're all the way up, straighten your handlebars. It shouldn't be so tight that you can't kind of nudge them around. Make sure they look straight. That looks pretty good. There you go, maybe. Is that too much? And it'll probably be crooked when I get on it, and I'm gonna have to fuck with it again. So give that a little tighten. Again, 6. Some of these even have, oh, this says 9 Nm, Newton meters, so I'm gonna tighten that up a little bit. There we go. I got freaking grease all over my hands, so all this shit's really slippery. Okay, so now that your handlebars are set, let's put our caliper back on. All right, now we want to set our pressure. And for me, being a big boy, I usually set my front fork pressure to 100 PSI. Some of your forks will have a grid down here. Make sure I put that back on right. And on this grid, it has rider pounds. So my range over 200 is 95 to 113. So I usually put it right at 100 pounds. So we're gonna get it to 100, then we're gonna pull it off the stand and charge it by bouncing on the fork a couple times, and then we're gonna measure it again. Because usually when you charge it again, it goes down. Okay. Woo. We need to tighten up that rebound, that's for sure. Yeah, so now we're back on there after charging it, and it's at 92. Not sure if you can see that. There's a glare on the screen, but 92. All right, looks like she's ready to ride again. Got it nice and cleaned up. Fresh new forks, new fluids, pressure set. Cranked up the rebound a little bit so that it didn't spring back so quick. And just a brief explanation. Up here is your compression. Down here, the knob that we took off while we were working, that's your rebound. So if you feel like the front end is bouncing up off the ground a little too far or too fast, and you want it to come up a little slower, be a little less aggressive when you're jumping or you're going downhill, you can take this one, turn it to the right to turn up the rebound, and that will make the shock come back down slower. Up here, if you want to firm it up, it's self-explanatory. It says go firmer one direction, and obviously a little softer and the opposite. So righty tighty or righty firmy, lefty softer, and that'll help you tune in your suspension. A good way to set this is to find how many clicks there are on the bottom and the top and set it right in the middle. So if you have 7 clicks all the way to the end on the bottom from start to finish, then maybe set it around 4 or 5 to begin with. Same with the top. And if it feels a little bit different or a little soft, then you can firm it up, or a little springy, you can turn up the rebound so that it doesn't actually come up too fast. So a general rule of thumb is have it all the way tuned down, mean turned all the way to the left, all the way to the soft, all the way to the maximum decompression on the rebound whenever you set these. And then when you put them back together, then you can reset them right in the middle, or back to the specifications if you know exactly what yours are. So that's just kind of a tip that I do on mountain bikes and dirt bikes too. But overall, that was a pretty simple job. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment. And thanks a lot for watching the video. Happy riding. All right, pedal into it, up off the seat, level pedals. Woo! Woo! All right, level pedals.
You got it, Hank.